I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer.
Joe Rogan just dropped a bombshell about Jake Paul, the so-called boxing prodigy, and his decision to turn down Andrew Tate's big fight offer. Here's the kicker. Jake didn't just walk away. He reportedly turned down $3 million to step into the ring. That's right, $3 million left on the table. So, what's the real story here? Is Jake avoiding a fight he might lose, or does he only step into the ring when the odds are in his favor? The narrative of his unstoppable career might be starting to sound a little scripted.
If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Google it if you want to know more. Any day.
Don't worry, I'm here to break down exactly why Jake Paul turned down Andrew Tate's savage callouts. From Joe Rogan's insight into Jake's play-it-safe strategy to the drama, ego, and downright hilarious truths behind it all, this story has everything. Buckle up, because you won't want to miss a second of this wild ride.
As a boxer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins. And he makes money. So he's doing his thing. You know?
Come on, fight.
20 seconds. Come on, 20 seconds to walk with me. Let's go. Come on, work. Work. 10 seconds. Work.
Jake Paul loves to claim he'll take on all challenges until the real test shows up. The moment things get serious, he's nowhere to be found. And who better to call him out than Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate? If there were a handbook on dodging legitimate competition while bragging about being the best, Jake Paul might as well be the author.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And two,
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might
And
say,
it's funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul. Will never.
When Andrew Tate, a former kickboxing champion and professional provocateur, called out Jake Paul, the internet went into a frenzy. Tate wasn't messing around. He threw down a $3 million bet and an anytime, anywhere challenge. But instead of jumping at the opportunity to prove himself, Jake hit pause. Not the dramatic kind of hesitation that builds suspense, but the awkward kind that makes you picture him frantically texting his PR team for a way out.
Somebody like me, he'd mentioned me before, and there'll be people out there saying, oh, Carl Froch's talking about himself, he's after a payday. Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right. There's no problems with my finances.
Then came Jake's brilliant pivot, challenging Mike Tyson. Yes, the 57-year-old retired legend whose prime ended back when VHS tapes were still in style. In his infinite wisdom, Jake decided fighting Tyson was a safer bet than stepping into the ring with someone like Andrew Tate, a fighter still in peak shape and unpredictably dangerous. Sure, it was a calculated move, but it screamed one thing louder than anything else: fear. After all, we all know Jake thrives on scripted fights, and with Andrew Tate, there's no script to rely on.
When you see some of these crossover fights, obviously I know that you and Jake Paul have had your disagreements. Do you think that Jake's gotten better as a boxer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins. And he makes money. So he's doing his thing.
Let's not pretend this is the first time Jake Paul has dodged a fight he couldn't control. His entire boxing career has been a masterclass in cherry-picking opponents. Former basketball players, check. Retired MMA fighters with zero boxing experience, double check. And now, Mike Tyson, a retired heavyweight legend, famous enough to sell tickets, but far from his prime to be a real threat. The pattern is so blatant that even Jake's most loyal fans are starting to catch on. Joe Rogan didn't hold back on his podcast, calling out Jake Paul's calculated strategy of dodging real competition. He's fighting old, undersized guys, Rogan said, echoing what everyone else has been thinking. According to Rogan, Jake Paul avoids Andrew Tate for a reason. Tate is younger, faster, and far more unpredictable than any opponent Jake has faced. Rogan went even further, suggesting that Jake's refusal to take on Tate proves he's more focused on protecting his record than establishing himself as a legitimate fighter.
Brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
Don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know the kind of men we are.
Now, let's talk about Andrew Tate for a moment. He's not some washed-up internet personality chasing a quick payday. Tate is a former kickboxing world champion with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. His $3 million challenge to Jake Paul wasn't just a flashy stunt, it was a statement. Tate knew Jake wouldn't take the fight, and he made sure everyone else knew it too. When Jake coasted him, Tate didn't back down. Instead, he doubled down, calling Jake out again and exposing the glaring truth. Jake's career is built on fighting opponents he can control. There's a difference between training and being a fighter, Tate said, delivering one of the harshest truths yet. Prime fighters destroy hobbyists.
Drew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is a weak link.
I say let's
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
Uh-oh. A MMA
10
double
million,
tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight.
Joe Rogan didn't hold back when discussing Jake's decision to fight Tyson instead of Tate. Jake Paul doesn't want to fight someone he can't control, Rogan said, slicing through Jake's facade like a hot knife through butter, and he's spot on. Jake Paul's entire career has been about control. Controlling his opponents, the narrative, and the spectacle. Andrew Tate represents the one thing Jake can't control, a real challenge. If Jake thought his fans wouldn't notice the dodge, he was sorely mistaken. Social media exploded with criticism, and the backlash was brutal. Fans called him a coward, a fraud, and worse. Even some of Jake's own supporters admitted that avoiding Tate while opting to fight Mike Tyson was a bad look. The internet doesn't forget, and this move might just haunt Jake for the rest of his career.
You lose to an old man who's retired. I live in the real fucking world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real fucking world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to this sport and don't have a fucking fraction of the money you have because you managed to become a fucking clown.
And let's not forget Tate's fans, who were more than eager to join the chorus of criticism. They flooded Jake's social media with taunts and constant reminders of his reluctance to face a real fighter. Tate, of course, seized the opportunity, calling Jake out for being scared and reiterating his challenge. It was a masterclass in psychological warfare, and Jake had no response.
Come on, fight. Make it. Come on, 20 seconds of walk. Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Joe Rogan's comments only added fuel to the fire. He didn't just expose Jake's strategy, he completely dismantled it. He's avoiding young, competitive opponents, Rogan said, and it's hard to argue with that. Every fighter Jake has faced so far has either been past their prime, out of their weight class, or out of their depth. Fighting Andrew Tate would have been Jake's chance to silence his critics and prove he's more than just a YouTuber with a decent punch. Instead, he chose the easy way out, and Rogan wasn't about to let him off the hook. Jake Paul's decision to reject Andrew Tate's fight offer hasn't just damaged his reputation, it's exposed the core weakness of his entire brand. For years, Jake has built his career on the illusion of being a fearless competitor. But this saga has shattered that image. Fans now see him for what he really is, a businessman more interested in selling fights than proving himself as a legitimate boxer.
Best boxer on the planet is
Jake Paul.
Why?
I mean, who's doing it?
I mean, if Mike Tyson says, let's do this, are you down?
100%.
We're gonna make Mike my girlfriend.
Would you fight Mike Tyson?
Again, no, because he's now old, and I would be an absolutely tragic shame to knock out an old version of his prime self. That doesn't feel fair. Prime Tyson would have ripped me apart in once again. So to meet him when he's past his prime is just honorable, and I feel dirty for doing that. So there's no amount on the other planet that could convince me to fight.
And then there's the looming question: where does Jake go from here? Does he continue dodging real opponents and risk even more backlash? Or does he finally step up and face someone like Andrew Tate? The longer he avoids fighters like Tate, the more his reputation will suffer. Andrew Tate and Joe Rogan have exposed Jake Paul in ways no opponent ever has. They've revealed the cracks in his armor, and now the whole world is watching. Jake can keep pretending he's a future of boxing, but as long as he continues avoiding real challenges, that narrative will crumble. His empire of hype and half-truths is on shaky ground, and unless he changes course, it's only a matter of time before it all collapses entirely.